Yeah.
Well, I think what's hitting me with it, I mean, and I think we're like one step away from the is this an RPG debate or not, which I am very, if we want to get into that, I'm down.
90% of games are RPGs. So
Yeah.
You're playing the role of Clive.
And like the crafting stuff, what's the fucking point? I don't care. It's a stat stick that's bigger. There's nothing interesting to it.
But don't you want to make that +1 become a plus?
Well, I do, because that's the progression system for me to do more damage. But other than that, I would not want to do it. No. It's forcing me to.
Yeah, the shallow RPG-ness of it, to just get a stick that does a little bit more and it does nothing extra was it's so negligible to the point where it's just not even something you pay attention to.
It's a bummer, because like there was always like a lot of Final Fantasy games work that way. Like this isn't a unique thing where like I just got the next best version of the sword, but they always had something else with it, like the materia system or something. And this doesn't have that. Like I see the 3 accessories or whatever. It's like, I guess you can do a little bit here, but it's not that much.
Yeah. Well, I think what's hitting me with it, I mean, and I think we're like one step away from the is this an RPG debate or not, which I am very, if we want to get into that, I'm down.
90% of games are RPGs. So
yeah,
you're playing the role of Clive. But to me, I almost would rather not have any of these numbers, because I think the reason why the numbers work in like a turn-based kind of thing, or even like the weird ATB pseudo turn-based stuff that like a lot of Final Fantasy games are, is that it does feel like progression when you can only really attack like once every couple seconds. Like, okay, now that every couple seconds is a lot more valuable, because now I do 100 more damage. In this game, it's like, okay, I do like 3 more damage, but I just dodge her out of the way. I parry this, I do this big attack, and it's a lot more of an action game, like so much of an action game where really the improvements, the efficacy comes from your skills as a player, not so much that I have a bigger stick. I mean, the bigger stick helps, but it doesn't feel as effective or necessary as it does in like an old school Final Fantasy game.
100% agree. I think if they just got rid of the equipment altogether, and honestly, if they got rid of the skill tree ring things, there's not much there to them. And I would just rather you just unlock abilities as you go along, and then you can mix and match them as you want after. Because it doesn't really add anything to me. You just have another just ability point thing just to put something in. So all the stuff around it, I don't like.
There, I disagree. I kind of like the skill tree, the skill rings.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it does. Have you unlocked anything?
Yeah, you can unlock them, but I mean, what's the difference between me just unlocking them in the game versus putting them in a fucking ring?
I mean, to me, it's the choice of what you want to use. Like what?
I mean, you get most of the basic stuff. You get a couple of things extra.
Right, and then you can upgrade them or master them, and then they get better. So it's like, what moves do you use a lot? Like that's the way I'm playing through it right now. It's like, okay, I use the down thrust a lot, so it's pretty fucking cool to be able to like build air and then just.
That's something it takes so little to upgrade. It's like, who gives a shit? Like
there's definitely later on there's upgrades. It'll be like, to get the final master version of this attack, you need 8,000 ability points. But the flip side of that is that you can also unspend points on any ability at any time.
Yeah.
So there is a point where like Clive as a character, your total AP buildup will mean that no matter how you want to respec or like different abilities you try, you can just reclaim all of the points from abilities you're no longer using and pour them into the abilities that you want to use. It
almost sounds like this system doesn't need to exist. Why not just give me access to those abilities and let me create my loadout from those abilities? I don't need a fucking
that's the thing.
AP points to put in anywhere.
I wish that there was more RPG-ness in the weapons. Just even something as simple as like, hey, new weapons have unlocked. Instead of every single weapon except for one has the exact same attack power and stagger power, but just like, hey, have one with a higher attack and a lower stagger, and then have one flip-flopped.
Even that,
and then, it's just like it feels like there were a whole bunch of very very small ways that you could add more depth to what's happening. And like I've publicly been saying that like I do think that it's an RPG, that there is RPG progression. I just think it's very shallow. Not that that's a bad thing, because the combat's great. Like, this is a game that you come into, the parts that you want to play, the parts that you want to have feel good are that. But I do think that there's this sense of like, hey, by the time that Rob gets to the Garuda fight, if we were to like take a snapshot of what your equipment looks like and what Andrew's equipment looked like, chances are you guys are going to have the exact same everything. Just because of the way it is.
I agree. I don't think that like these are pretty minor in terms of what the enjoyment you're going to get out of this game is. But it's a weird like crisis of identity that feels like for this game. It's like you really want to be more of an action-y Devil May Cry like thing or something. You don't need these tropey things that have been part of Final Fantasy to do that. But it doesn't detract from it that much. It's just a bummer that there's not more to it.
Or even if they had done it something similar to Strangers in Paradise, to have like more tree build up that then gets you to an ability. Like, sure, you can get this second fire attack, but before that, there's a chance to do a plus percentage to stagger, plus percentage to attack, and then a plus cooldown, and like let more branch out to get you there. And it makes what those paths are more interesting, and it doesn't rely as much as like, hey, if I want to swap loadout later in the game, let me just reclaim everything from over here and dump it into here.
So that's real minor things. I mean, really, I think that they would have been better off just removing the systems altogether. Still give you the abilities and stuff, but like, just there's no point to that to me. It wants to be a character action game in the vein of like a PlayStation exclusive kind of, but still these weird Final Fantasy things still part of it. That kind of half-heartedly put in there, and I don't think it needed them.
I think I'm on that boat too. I mean, I think though it does say a lot that we've been a little bit down on the game for the past couple of minutes, but it's still like the combat feels
so fucking
that
cool.
It feels that good, like
I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I wholeheartedly believe it is the 9.5 out of 10.
The combat's so cool. All of the like big set piece moments fucking are rad as hell. And I'm still, this is the beginning of the game. I know there's gonna be way fucking cooler shit that I have not seen yet.